What's up, folks? It's your buddy Fatalroadie. Tonight we're going to be doing a Raw recap. We start off with Seth Rollins coming out to the ring. He talks about his match at the Royal Rumble and says that he'll be going to Wrestlemania. And of course, he does the obligatory pointing at the Wrestlemania sign. He debates his choices on whether or not he's going to go for the Universal title or the WWE title from SmackDown. Then Triple H comes out, he congratulates Seth Rollins and tells him that he has to make his decision tonight. So whose ass is Seth Rollins going to kick? Then Dean Ambrose comes out. He comes into the ring and runs down Triple H and says out of all of this, he's always had Seth Rollins back. What the hell? Weren't you like just fighting about 2 weeks ago and all that shit going on? He then tells Seth Rollins that he's never been able to beat him fair and square, and then he demands a match. Triple H starts to go out of the ring. Dean Ambrose stops him and says, what do you have to do? Go ask your daddy-in-law? Triple H then says, get a referee out of here now, and that'll bring up our first match. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. This is an match. It was nothing different from the 4,827 times we've seen this happen before. It ended with Seth Rollins giving the curb stomp to Dean Ambrose and gets the pin. Can we please move on from this? Really? When we come back from the commercial, Dean Ambrose is still in the ring. He starts to talk on the microphone, but he's interrupted by Nia Jax and Tamina. They get into the ring. Nia Jax squares up with Dean Ambrose, and inevitably he gets knocked out of the ring. What the hell? We then have our next match, Nia Jax and Tamina versus Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. This is a qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. This is an okay match. Most of it was Nia Jax and Tamina working on Alexa Bliss. It ends when Nia Jax does a double Samoa drop on Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. Jax pins James and gets the win, so they're moving on to the Elimination Chamber. We then have Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin. Another match. It really didn't help hearing the announcers bitching back and forth. It was like totally taking me out of the match. Not that the match was really any good to begin with. Baron Corbin hit the deep six on Kurt Angle and got the pin. After the match, he hits the end of days on Angle again. I'll touch on this later in a second. After a recap of the Balor-Lesnar match at Royal Rumble, Finn Balor comes out. He talks about said match. Then Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush comes out. Lashley's mouthpiece calls Finn Balor a disgrace and then starts to talk up Bobby Lashley. Finn Balor brought up Bobby Lashley lasting only 12 seconds in the Royal Rumble, and then Bobby Lashley attacks, laying out Finn Balor. We then have the Revival versus Zack Ryder and Curt Hawkins. I remember calling this one in the last week's episode. This is a glorified squash match. The Revival hit the Shatter Machine on Curt Hawkins for the win. We'll probably see this happening another 3 or 4 more times. And then thankfully, due to a cable problem, I missed a segment with Elias, who was wasting a bunch of time. Apparently, Jeff Jarrett and the Road Dogg came out. They picked a fight with Elias, got beat down, and Elias broke another guitar over Jeff Jarrett's back. Somehow, I feel this is not going to be over. We then have another qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. Dana Brooke and Natalya versus Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan with Ruby Riott at ringside. The crowd was damn near dead silent throughout this whole match, and I can't really say I disagree with them. Sarah Logan knocked Dana Brooke into Natalya, allowing Liv Morgan to get the pin. Seriously, this was probably the lowest point of the whole night. Then Ronda Rousey comes out to issue an open challenge for the Raw Women's title. She tries to cut some semblance of a promo, but is seriously getting booed by the crowd. Along this time, she does once again the obligatory point towards WrestleMania sign. There was a little bit brief of awkward silence, and then Bayley comes out and she challenges Ronda Rousey for the title. So this is our next match, Ronda Rousey versus Bayley. As previously mentioned, this is going to be for the Raw Women's title. This was an match that took way too long. Ronda Rousey got the armbar for the win. After the match, she helps up Bayley. They shake. Okay. Then all of a sudden, Becky Lynch comes out. The crowd goes absolutely fucking nuts. This is probably the biggest pop we've had in quite some time in Raw history. Becky Lynch says that she's going to be choosing Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. And I'm not really sure, but I think Ronda Rousey made some veiled attempt at killing Becky Lynch. Rousey continued her promo, albeit stumbling around a little bit, and tells Becky Lynch that she'll be owning her at WrestleMania. After this, she walks off. Okay. Then we have Braun Strowman versus Drew McIntyre. These are two big powerhouses going at it. This would have been a good match, but Baron Corbin came out and attacked Braun Strowman, causing a disqualification. Why am I not shocked at this? Braun Strowman lays out Corbin and McIntyre. He starts to beat down on Baron Corbin, but Drew McIntyre comes out of nowhere, gives Strowman a Claymore kick. Then McIntyre and Corbin give Braun Strowman a chokeslam onto the steps. They celebrate, and walk up off the ramp. Okay. What I was getting at from earlier is we're probably going to get next week Kurt Angle and Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre. So stay tuned next week. Hopefully I'll be right again. We then have Brock Lesnar coming out for Seth Rollins' decision on who he's going to be facing. Paul Heyman cuts a promo on Seth Rollins, basically fellatiating Brock Lesnar. Seth Rollins comes running out and takes it immediately to Brock Lesnar, but Lesnar was able to fight back. He gives Seth Rollins an F5. and then follows it up with 4 more, one of them including on top of the Universal title. As Brock Lesnar starts to walk away, Seth Rollins says, "That's all you got?" Lesnar comes back, gives it another F5, and we close tonight's Raw. As far as all the past Raws have gone, this one was kind of average. I mean, it wasn't spectacular. I think pretty much the saving grace for this whole thing, if I can get my words right, was Becky Lynch showing up. Like I said, that gave pretty much the biggest pop of the whole night. The matches were okay. Quite a few of them were kind of below average. The Strowman-McIntyre match really could have been good, but we had a shady finish to that one. But like I said, we're probably going to be seeing that next week. But that'll do it for this episode of Raw Recap. I'll be back tomorrow for the SmackDown review. Leave a comment down below what you thought of tonight's Raw, what you thought of this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to share and subscribe. I've been Fatalroadie. You've been awesome. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, if it's too loud, you're too old. See ya.